they're starting so slow. Eric Goska, the great Packer historian and our friend, he pointed out, Love in this game, he passed for 47 yards in the first half on 10 completions. In 100 years of Packer football, only one guy had fewer yards at his first 10 completions. That was Aaron Rodgers in a 37-8 blowout at San Francisco in 2019. You might remember that one.
I was at that game, actually, yeah.
And before I go by position, I'll just say, on offense, Tyler, they have no one taking charge. They don't have a take charge guy. LaFleur, he doesn't strike me as that kind of guy. His body language, he's like blaming others, just looking at him on the sidelines, just, beside himself with mistakes and all this. But it doesn't seem like a, all for one for all kind of a approach by him. The offensive coordinator, Adam Stenovich, he's an old line coach. I mean, I don't know the guy, but all right, let's look at over reliance on youth right now. They are so young, Tyler. Let's look at this wide receiver group. Watson can't stay on the field. He's really been brittle for this year and a half. Romeo Dobbs, he's the guy you might remember who stayed in his room at the combine because of anxiety. Jaden Reed's got a 10 test score. The tight ends, they're all so young. Offensive line, Bakhtiari's not playing. And then the running backs, I know Aaron Jones, so do you. He's a great guy, but I don't see him as a leader kind of a player. I certainly don't see A.J. Dillon like that. I remember the stories about him. Scouts, Boston College, kind of a selfish player into himself. So they're just kind of blank stare. And Jordan Love, those facial expressions, I just don't get the guy. But basically on offense, you see a bunch of blank stares, guys looking off into space. They're kind of a mess on offense right now, and they're against a Denver defense that ranked last in the league, and they couldn't do jack in that first half against them. And then, they got a luck touchdown in the second half, and they were better, but certainly not enough to beat a bad Denver team on the road.
That's a great place to start. No, I love that, yeah. Bob, because leadership is one of those intangible conversations to have, but an important conversation to have, because it's times like these, somebody needs to speak up. Somebody needs to take charge. And who is that player? Because I think there was some logic to the youth movement in Green Bay. We're talking offensively, to have all of these young receivers, young backs. A lot of it was financial. He had so much dead money wrapped up into Aaron Rodgers, which is, in retrospect, why, regardless of if Jordan Love is ready or not, it probably would have been smart to get out of the Aaron Rodgers business a year earlier, maybe even 2 years earlier, when you literally can just get a bounty of picks, get whatever the hell you want, and move forward. They couldn't really sign. Maybe you get a crusty old veteran who speaks up off the street for a vet minimum, but in terms of like a good football player who's a leader, they didn't find that player offensively all off season long. And there's something to be said for young guys learning together. There's a beauty to that. And maybe they still do. Shit, we're going to get into the receivers. No wide receiver one. They maybe don't really have a wide receiver two. Two rookie tight ends. David Bakhtiari, the one veteran that you really have, is done. He's hurt. He's out. You just broke it down. It was pretty unprofessional when Aaron Rodgers was throwing around the Jerry Krause reference, right? You reported that, I believe, to teammates. Yeah. The Bulls GM who infamously just wanted to run Jordan, Pippen out of town, kind of go to the youth movement. And the comparison never made sense, even when Rodgers and Devontae Adams are putting the Instagrams up of the last dance. The Bulls won 6 championships. The Packers won one. Michael Jordan's the greatest player of all time. Aaron Rodgers is not. So it's a little bit of a stretch on the quarterback's part. Oh, I will say this, though. The Green Bay did kind of embrace a youth baby Packers movement offensively. Similar to those Bulls, right? I'm trying to think back. Eddie Curry, Tyson Chandler, a lot of young players there. I don't think it's going to get that bad, but they've got a rough schedule coming up. It's going to be tough to win games the way they're playing on offense right now. And we're going to get into exactly why.